A factory makes 450 pies every day. The pies are chicken pies or steak pies. Each day Milo takes a sample of 15 pies to check. The proportion of the pies in his sample that are chicken is the same as the proportion of the pies made that day that are chicken. On Monday, Milo calculated that he needed exactly 4 chicken pies in his sample. Work out the total number of chicken pies that were made on Monday. So the first thing we can do for this question is highlight the key pieces of information. So the first thing is that the factory makes 450 pies a day. Milo takes a sample of 15 pies to check. And the proportion of pies in his sample that are chicken is the same as the proportion of pies made that day that are chicken. So as we can see, Milo calculated that he needed exactly 4 chicken pies in his sample. And his sample is made up of 15 pies, so this means that 4 out of the 15 pies will be chicken. So what we can do is we can make x equal the number of chicken pies. And from this we can work out that 4 over 15 is equal to x. And then if there's 450 pies made every day, then it'll be x over 450. And we get one of our marks for writing this. And now the final thing we need to do is rearrange this equation to make x the subject and therefore work out the number of chicken pies. So in order to do this, we can multiply both sides by 450. And this will give us 4 multiplied by 450 divided by 15 is equal to x. And now what we need to do is work out what this is equal to. So x is equal to 4 multiplied by 450, which is 1,800, divided by 15, which we can simplify down to 360 over 3 by dividing both the top and bottom by 5, which tells us that x is equal to 120. So if x is the number of chicken pies, this means that 120 chicken pies were made on Monday. And this is where our second mark will come from. On Tuesday, the number of steak pies Milo needs in his sample is 6 correct to the nearest whole number. Milo takes at random a pie from the 450 pies made on Tuesday. Work out the lower bound of the probability that the pie is a steak pie. So the first thing we need to do for this question is work out what the lower bound of 6 is to the nearest whole number. So we want the smallest possible number, which will still round up to 6. So the lower bound is 5.5. So we can use the same method that we used in part A. So we can let y equal the number of steak pies. So if the lower bound is 5.5, this means that 5.5 pies out of 15 pies is equal to y divided by 450. And again, we want to rearrange this equation to make y the subject. So we can multiply both sides by 450. This gives us 5.5 times by 450 divided by 15 is equal to y. Now we can rewrite the left-hand side of this equation to make it easier to work out. And we can rewrite it as 5.5 multiplied by 450 divided by 15 is equal to y. And this 450 divided by 15 is easier to work out. And this gives us 5.5 times by 30 is equal to y. And then 5.5 times by 3 is 16.5, which means 5.5 times by 30 is 165. So this means that there's 165 steak pies made on Tuesday. However, we want to work out what the probability that the pie is a steak pie will be. So if there's 450 pies in total, then the probability will be 165 divided by 450. So this question is worth 2 marks. So we get the first mark for working out what the lower bound is, and we get the second mark for working out the probability.